All right, so I believe you all checked out the tutorial online. Just give you a quick overview. Let me share with you one website. This is the official instruction, and you always have to check this because the compatible versions are always changing. So that's something quite annoying about Unity, that whenever they update some packages, they just have to update like all other things. So it's quite fragile. But let me share this to the chat. So if you go to this website, it's how to configure MRTK for an Android or iOS application. So what this is doing is you're doing exactly the same thing. Of course, not exactly because you don't use hand gestures and everything, but you can do pretty much everything on Android or iOS devices. So once you download it, I have it downloaded here in my data folder, which is these two packages. So firstly, I'm going to import. So go to asset folder, import packages, custom packages, and direct to this package and import both of them. So I'm going to do the foundation first and then the example. It might take a few minutes. If it takes too long, let's see.
Once you import it, is it only in this file or will it be in your Unity forever?
Only in this file.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so only in this project folder.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm currently importing this foundation. Once this is done, I'm going to import this example. Yeah, so these packages that just save it somewhere safe, so you can import them if you change any projects. So you have to have this file saved somewhere, or you can download it again. So as I explained to you last time, the AR Core and AR Foundation, in last tutorial, I kind of used the latest version, which didn't work. It seems like it's still not very compatible. Even this one, if you are using Unity 2020, you need to use this one, but they don't recommend you to use it yet. So that's why we are using Unity 19.4, and you have to follow these versions. Yeah, so don't use just latest version, which might not work. Very likely it's not going to work. So Rob, are you there? Have you tried to export the latest exercise to your phone?
The last exercise, yeah.
Was it working?
Yeah, for some reason it wasn't working in the big Unity file like we've been working on for like the past few weeks, I had to start a new Unity file, and then it worked
Okay.
perfectly after that. So I don't know.
Okay, great. So you changed the AR Foundation to earlier version, right?
Yeah, to 3.13, I believe.
Okay, that's still later than what I uploaded on the YouTube, but okay, 3.1 still works. That sounds great. Sounds good. Okay, so apply. So this is pop-up window. Just say apply. This was only the first package. Also, in the meantime, Melody, you wanted to borrow some your friend's Android device. Did you manage to do that?
Yeah, so I got to like one of my friends said that like she has a Samsung tablet,
Great.
which
So
is
you can
like
borrow.
2013, but I think it will still work. You just have to download the app and stuff, right? So I may get it from her, or I have another friend who have like a Android phone.
Great.
So
yeah.
I'm just
You can
wondering,
borrow.
like, do I always have to keep it with me, or I just have to set up the app and then when it comes to testing, I can borrow from them?
Yeah, test it. Yeah, only when
Okay.
you test it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can send it to your friends for them to test it, maybe record their screen and send it to you, for example.
Yeah, and for yesterday, like for the assignment, I download the file, but I didn't get to test it, but then I attached in the submission. So I'm not sure if it works or not.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will test it. Great.
Okay.
And Kazaki and Murphy, you guys can, I will also test it for you until you get hold of HoloLens. You can use the HoloLens version. But for now, when you are making Android application, I can test it for you. So please upload your built APK file. Okay.
Okay.
Sure,
Thanks.
I already uploaded.
All right, great. So later I will test everybody's. Okay, so once this is done, all right, that's great. Once this is done, we are going to go to a sample scene. So you see this assets folder is created. We are going to go to this mixed reality toolkit example, demos. There are lots of demos. These are all the demos that you just saw in the screen, in the Unity example hub. If you remember, there were a lot of examples and I just clicked on one, right? The one that I tested is hand tracking. It's called hand interaction example. But for the first one, we are going to check this one, boundary and scenes. This is a very simple example, has a lot of, has just a row of coffee cups. Sorry, not boundary. So this UX, bounding box, and scenes, and bounding box examples. This is the most simple set of examples to show you the relationship between the bounding box and the model itself. And just import the TMP, Text Mesh Pro. This is something they used for the UI with better text qualities, like these ones. Okay. We can actually, the models are somewhere there, but let's turn off these gizmos. Yeah. So the models are here and we can just, we don't need these things. So let's just delete it. Okay. So I'm going to select everything and Control F to just zoom selected. All right. this is pretty much it that we want to now deploy to our phone to test. All right, so in order to deploy this, we need to do few things. So firstly, we are going to go to our build settings. And for iOS and Android, there are a few different settings that I will explain you, but let's switch to Android. Switch to Android and say switch platform. So once this is switched, you will see the Unity icon here. And then the MRTK pop-up window will pop up and you just say apply. Taking a minute. And then once that's done, go to the player settings. I have a question. Are you guys just watching or trying to follow? What is the situation?
I'm following because I have previously put in the package when I
Okay.
watched the online YouTube. So I'm importing the.
Great. Okay. Yeah. If you're just watching, let me know. Maybe you want this tutorial faster, then I can have an imported version that I can just explain you. Okay, let's wait for this one just for now. So actually, this process is actually exactly same as we just deploy AR app without any MRTK. I mean the player setting part. So if you are exporting any Android app for AR, you just need to follow this part. Okay, so say apply. Great, and then let's go to the player settings. You need to change the name to something unique. I just normally use my name just for any testing. If you don't change this, at least my phone doesn't recognize it. So do it. And for Android, delete the Vulkan. This was explained before as well. And then, okay, multi-threaded rendering is off. That's great. And then scroll down. If you have this, scroll down and change the minimum API level to 26. By default, it might be 24 or lower. Just deleting a vocal, why it takes so long? Okay, almost there, almost there. Okay, so make sure this multi-threaded rendering is off. This minimum API level to minimum 26. And this might be optional, but I changed this to .NET 4. And that's it for Android. And go to iOS. And in the other settings, you change the target minimum iOS version to, okay, so this kind of thing pops up, so just say apply. Target minimum to 11. And strip engine code off. All this is actually indicated in this. So maybe in the future when things got upgraded, the instruction for anything will change. Yeah. So just in case maybe something you want to, some version of your Unity and anything has changed, just check the instruction from official site. So all this was actually suggested or told by the instruction. Okay. Yeah, and you are ready. So yeah, Android, and you don't build it yet. So close it. We need to do something that is quite weird, but it's quite necessary. Because otherwise, if you just deploy this now, the camera will be black. Just background won't be AR. So you need to change this by clicking on this mixed reality toolkit. And in the inspector, you will see something quite weird here. There is something called default HoloLens 2 configuration profile. Just say clone. I don't really understand what's really happening, but that's from the instruction. Just change its name to something unique. Maybe you can say mobile or coffee, something like that, and say clone. And once you clone it, something is created here by default, just automatically. So that's something.
So can I ask one question? Sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm still at the build setting place. So in the player setting, I couldn't see the iOS. I was trying to set up the iOS. So is that I have to go back to Unity Hub and do something, modify it? Or?
Yes. So yeah, it means in your version, when you install it, you didn't add iOS here. But you don't need it because you're not going to make iOS.
Okay, so I don't have to set that up.
You don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah. But you have this icon here, right?
Yeah.
then you're good. Whoever needs to build an iPhone app, you need that iOS. Cool, good question. Where were we? Oh yeah, we just created this profile. Did you follow that?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to go back just one step. Mixed Reality Toolkit.
Mhm.
And here you will see something called the default something.
Mhm.
And say clone.
Yeah.
And in the profile name, just change the name to something unique. So what I changed is I changed the new to mobile. And then once you say clone, this will be created in the assets. You did it, okay. And just click on this profile. That is a newly created profile. Click on this one. And then we have to do another weird thing here. There's default HoloLens 2 camera profile. We need to clone this. Clone. And make a mobile mixed reality camera profile and clone. By saying that it's not really a conventional process or something, it's just the way they set it up. Okay, so there is a new profile created here. This is the new profile. All right, yeah. So let's go back here. We created a clone here. Yeah, so okay. So you just cloned a camera profile. And you have to go back, so deselect everything. You have to go back to your hierarchy and go to your mixed reality toolkit again. And here you will see something called camera settings providers. And say add camera settings provider. And here in new data provider, change the type from none to the Microsoft Mixed Reality Toolkit Experimental Unity AR and Unity AR camera settings. Select this one. Say OK. And that's it. You are ready to deploy your application. Okay, now I'm going to save this, so I don't have the star. I'm going to File, Build Settings. We have to add the scene here, isn't it? So add the open scene. That's great. We are here. We also changed all the player settings. We are ready to build. So build it now. Make a folder, build mobile coffee. Yeah. And I'm going to test this so to make sure that this is actually working. But I also have pre-recorded to show you what this actually do. So once this is deployed, this is recorded from my phone. So what it does is it have that roll of coffees, and half of them are HoloLens 2 style bounding box. You can just test the way they interact with your hands gestures. You can drag your hands around to test it. You can just see the feeling, feel the feeling of it. And this is HoloLens 1 generation style, which has more sophisticated bounding box indication. And I also tried to change one of the coffee to my own model, which I will also show you how to do that. Yeah. So that's actually pretty easy. And for us, we are going to predominantly use the examples to manipulate and create our own interfaces. So there are a lot of good examples that already created and provide. So I hope you can check out all of these when you have time. So I'm going to test this, although I have tested the earlier one, but I'm going to check this. What I'm going to do is I have a Google Drive. I'm going to upload it. If you have a mobile device, you can feel free to download this one and check it. So let me share this link with you. How do I share this? Share. Anyone with a link can view. Copy link. Done. I'm going to share this link with you guys. Zoom chat. Okay, if any of you have mobile phone, just open it. So in my case, I will just use my drive. Go to that example file. Okay, so mobile coffee API, APK. Yeah, I hope it works. It's downloading. This is just to check if things are doing all right. Okay. The install. Open. Okay, it's black background for a while. Okay. It shows like this. Let me restart this app. Have I missed any step? Bounding box examples. So if the camera is not working, the background will be black. I don't think I missed any step. Let me double check. So we imported all the libraries in Unity. Oh, sorry, I missed really important steps. Sorry. So we have to import AR Foundation and AR XR pub plugin. Sorry, I really completely missed this. So follow this, and if you are deploying iOS, use this too. If you're using Android, use this too. So I'm going to import AR Foundation 2.1.8 as it says. So install.
For my package manager,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure if
If
I
you
can
don't
find it.
You don't find the package manager? You can
Wait.
find from window.
No, just now the AR Foundation is not coming up, so now it is.
Okay.
Just install the 2.1.8.
Yeah, following the guide.
Okay.
Yeah. And then AR Core XR plugin 2.1.11. If you are deploying Android device. If you are deploying iOS, you should follow these two. Say okay and okay. Something popped up just before. Okay, say apply. And then I'm going to build this again. No, I make mistakes. Okay, so I don't think we missed any steps. No. MRTK. Try again. I think it should work. I'm going to upload it here. Okay, now it's deployed. Going to disappear. I'm going to open my Exchange folder, upload this. I'm going to test this again. Drive, Google Drive, Exchange, copy to fix, downloading. So it is downloading. Gonna be there soon. Okay, say install. Open. Allow. Okay, now it works correctly. Can you see? I can also move things around. Okay, it's straightforward. Okay, so this means we didn't miss any step, which is a good news. All right, let's try to deploy the other one. So what if once you are happy with this? One more thing maybe I will just show you is that I'm going to maybe make this one and replace something with my own model. Maybe I'm going to use my model, the usual model that I have. This will be quick. So I'm going to import this. Better if you have a folder, but anyways, I'm going to import this. Import my house. Reset. Going to scale this 0.01.
A quick question: why
Yeah.
there's no material applied on my own model when I
Do you have MTL file with you?
I have both.
Okay. When you exported this from Rhino,
Yes.
did you name the materials properly instead
Oh.
of saying default or custom? Yeah.
Oh, no.
Another thing, yeah. Sorry, I probably didn't mention. Another thing, you need to apply materials as object material in Rhino instead of layer material.
I see.
Yeah, so it's a little bit robust in Unity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and also it's not really a good way to texture things in Rhino anyways. If to be more proper, it's better we create models from outside, but texture it properly in Unity.
Okay.
That's more proper. But anyways, yeah. So for really like simple colors like this, yeah, just apply as object material.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, and do you remember if they are blue, they are presets? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unpack the preset, unpack it, and I'm going to unpack only this one, unpack it, so I can replace. See what's happening. If I want to drag this inside here, it's actually allowing me. It's actually allowing me. Okay, it's not good to do it like that. But let me move this one to somewhere fits in the bounding box of the coffee 7. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to just replace the geometry instead of the copy mark. Of course, you can go to the coffee and check all these positions and rotations and do it more precisely. In my case, I will do it. I'm doing it as much as close as possible. And then I'm going to unpack this one because I don't want to screw other prefabs. And then I'm going to delete these 2 cups because they are just geometry. All the interaction is actually happening here. It sets all the bounding box collider, has audios and everything. I'm going to use their settings, but instead I'm going to use my geometry. Yeah. So one thing I want to point out is let's not worry too much about like really going deep into the gestures and trying to understand every little thing about it, which like I think very likely it's impossible to understand every single thing. And also they're changing their structures every time. And since they have provided us a lot of good examples, let's just use it. So in this case, as they're giving me the HoloLens 1 bounding box hand gesture, and for these ones for style 2, we can choose which ones we want and just replace the geometry inside instead of struggling to rebuild this by myself. So once you export this, you can interact with this. You can use your hand gesture to interact with the bounding box. And the bounding box is this one. The bounding box you will be interacting. Of course, HoloLens 1 will have like the corners and the balls. That will happen within this. So it's better you position it that you feel happy about the relationship with this bounding box position. Okay, so it's that easy. Okay, that's one thing. Just change the geometry inside to something you like. Okay, and that's one set. So we were using the bounding box example scene. You can, if you don't want to screw the earlier scene, you can save the scene as, and save the scene as coffee and house example. So if you go back to your demo UX bounding box scene, you still have the original version instead of screwing things up, because these were provided examples, isn't it? So what you really do is you just created a new scene. That's it. Okay. What if we want to use the same settings and just change the example file? I don't want to use this example, but instead I want to use maybe something else. Especially this one, hand tracking, had really interesting sets of examples. So we are going to use this one, hand interaction examples. This looks really interesting. So one thing you recognize that they are actually under 0, right? It's because your camera or your eye will be considered on the start from 0, 0, 0 position. Yeah, so if you have everything on top, when you start your app, your geometry is supposed to be on top of your eyes. So that's why the position is relative to your eye position, and eye is very likely on 0, 0, 0 when you set up a scene. So if you start your scene, when it starts, it will start from this position. Okay, and what do I need to do? Because we already have the build settings, because it's same project. We already have all the necessary plugins and everything, right? So this is remaining there. This remains. One thing is that if you export it like this, and when you install on your phone, your previous app with the coffee table, coffees will be replaced. So your app will be just upgraded instead of creating a new installation if you don't change the project name. All right, so what else do we have to do? Only thing we have to do is that camera thing. Do you remember there was this weird thing that we have to do? That's the only thing we need to do. So go to Mixed Reality Toolkit, clone this again. I'm going to make a new mobile 2 Mixed Reality Toolkit clone. And then in the profile, there's this new camera profile I'm going to clone. Mobile 2 Mixed Reality Camera Profile clone. I cloned it, and then you add this camera setting provider, change the type into the first Unity AR camera setting. And you save this scene by Control S or say save. And then you need to do one more thing. Go to Flare settings. You have to uncheck this one because you're not going to use this scene anymore. We're going to use this scene. So add the open scene. Make sure only this is ticked. And then save build. And now it's hand interaction. New hand interaction. And I'm going to test this. To be ready on my drive. Yeah, so once this is deployed, I also have it recorded, kind of. So most of the HoloLens 2 things, you can use two fingers. The upper one was not working. This one is working. So these buttons, when you click, the color changes. Here, HoloLens 2 style, you can move, scale, rotate. Yeah, and I'm also using this recorder called V Recorder. For Android, it's kind of free, but for only like 720 pixels. But for some earlier exercises, good enough. So if you want, you can also use this recorder. For higher resolution, you need to pay for some subscription thing. But this is okay for now. Yeah, so this is deploying. So I'm going to test this. All right. So just make sure this works. Compared to the earlier one, this was slightly heavier, but it should be okay. Any questions so far? It's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
So far, so good.
This is working very well. Let me show you. Yeah, so this one I can. Yeah, it's working. Pretty good.